Sitting in front of me is a professional trader who is vastly different from any trader you've likely met before. He is a former construction worker, a family man who famously took $37,000 in savings and turned it into $2.7 million in just 4 years. Since then, he has become the most sought after trading expert in America, with people all over the country tuning into his live trading sessions each day. They watch him make real trades with his own money almost 1,000 miles away from Wall Street. His name is Nate Bear of Alpharetta, Georgia. I've traveled to meet with him today for one important reason. You see, what Nate is going to show us today is vastly different from virtually any investment system you've ever tried before. He doesn't recommend buying and holding stocks like Tesla, Apple, and Johnson & Johnson. In fact, he's not telling people to maintain an active portfolio at all. Rather, he advocates abandoning 8,251 of the 8,252 publicly traded stocks and focusing on just one ticker at a time. Why? Because there's something very special about just one ticker and the way it moves. It allows him the potential to extract profits from the market over and over again. He calls this strategy One Ticker Payouts. How it works is you only trade one ticker every week for big potential paydays. And when I first heard about it, I admit I was skeptical. Who makes money trading just one ticker? But our research team studied Nate's strategies to see just how big these unusual one ticker payouts can be. And thanks to a market phenomenon that most investors have never even heard of, here are some of the results that we found, and they were, in a word, staggering. Looking back, we found that in November of last year alone, Nate's strategy would have found 4 winning weekly trades on just one ticker. In December, we tried again and found 3 winners. In January, 3 more. In February, 3 wins again. And in March, we saw 4 more. I could go on and on and on. And not only did our research uncover all of these weekly winners, it also found that the top gains investors could have made were huge. We're talking about returns like 543% in just 9 days. That's enough to turn $1,000 into $6,430. Or how about this 276% move in just 11 days? That turns $1,000 into $3,760. Or how about this one, the best gain that we found? Massive 2,614% return on just one trade in 10 days. That move alone would have been enough to turn $1,000 into $27,140. That's the potential of Nate's one ticker payout strategy. How is this possible? It's all thanks to a little-known market force that has been studied by Harvard University, Duke University, and even the Federal Reserve, all of whom have been interested in why it creates such a powerful market advantage. With that in mind, let's bring in the expert behind this impressive new approach to the markets. Please join me in welcoming the man himself, Nate Bear.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me, Bill. Now let me start by saying this. Hands down, the greatest, most lucrative discovery of my entire career. And I'm excited to share this with everybody today.
Hey, well, now, Nate, before we get too far ahead of ourselves, some viewers at home may not be familiar with you. And that's because, well, you're not Ivy League bigwig material or some corporate hotshot who made his name on Wall Street. You started off as an average Joe, if you will. In fact, you began your career working in construction with a modest $37,000 in savings. And yet, without any professional trading licenses, without any experience in the trading pits, without any connection whatsoever to the investing world, you turned $37,000 in savings into $2.7 million in just 4 years.
Yeah, before I got into trading, I was grinding myself into the ground doing construction. Every day I was remodeling stores like Home Depot and McDonald's. And all that got me was a small 1,200 square foot home. Once my wife and I started having kids, I knew I needed to do something different to provide a better life for my family. I needed to find a new income source. And that's how it all began, really. I joined a community of professional traders, and I was fortunate enough to find a secret that helped transform my wealth and my life in ways that I never dreamed possible. In just 4 years, I turned my $37,000 in savings into 2.7 million, and I've secured a financial future for my 4 children. That was my ultimate personal goal, but now my goal has expanded. It's become my life's mission to give back by helping normal people just like me reach their financial goals.
That is a remarkable story. But not many can become a self-made millionaire like you did. And with how difficult it is to navigate the stock market these days, well, I have to ask, how tough is it to actually grow a 401k? I think the sad reality is that most Americans need help. Thanks to the soaring cost of living, 63% of Americans are now living paycheck to paycheck. It's basically 2 out of every 3 people. People are looking for ways to keep up with inflation, to produce the income they need to cover all the rising cost of life. But here's what surprised me. Most investment advisors tell people to save their money, put it into stock market funds, diversify, and then keep doing that for years. They tell people if they do that for 20 to 30 years, they'll end up with a solid retirement. But what you're advocating is quite different. You're not telling people to buy and hold for 20 years. In fact, it only took you 4 years to personally produce a fully paid retirement. And you say that part of that nest egg could be built just by using one ticker at a time. Is that really possible? It seems to completely go against the conventional wisdom.
Yeah, it absolutely does. And listen, let me be clear. If people like to buy and hold and they want to keep doing that, that's perfectly fine. The truth is, buy and hold works. However, what's amazing about the one ticker strategy that I'm going to show everybody today is how much faster it can work. Even though I personally started with $37,000 and used multiple strategies when I started trading, viewers at home can start with a much smaller amount and still aim to generate massive new income.
So, are you saying that you can take a small portion of your portfolio and still see results with this strategy?
Yes, absolutely. And that's why I'm so excited to teach this powerful one ticker strategy today. I think it's going to be extremely helpful for people who are desperate for a new way to make more money. And it's so simple. You don't need to trade full time to see massive results. This is a simple technique that you can quickly use during lunch or on some boring Zoom call or even while you're out on the golf course. And all we're doing is trading one ticker at a time, same place, every week. Yet the data has been spectacular. Using this technique, everyday Americans could have turned $1,000 into rarely seen gains as high as $3,000, $5,000, even $27,000, all within a matter of days.
Friends, our research on one ticker payouts demonstrated that everyday people had an opportunity to unlock massive gains. We're talking about the power to double, triple, and as the research suggested, even in some rare cases, even 20 times an investment in just a matter of days. So, Nate, I gotta ask, how did you first discover this?
Well, it sure wasn't on purpose. Listen, I've had a successful career trading and I enjoy teaching others my strategies. But I'll be the first to admit, I was a horrible trader when I first started. I was addicted to whatever the hot stock tip I would hear from CNBC or Fox
And
Business.
let me guess, that didn't work out well for you.
Absolutely not. When you're constantly hunting for the next big stock and listening to all the talking heads on TV, most of the time you end up getting in on stocks at exactly the wrong time. You get in once stocks have already moved up because that's when the media starts talking about them. This is exactly what happened to me. I once had a single trade blow up half of my entire trading account. It was a silly earnings play on Apple that I'd heard somewhere on the news. I expected it to hit big, but the opposite happened. And I lost around $15,000, which was a lot of money considering I was a construction worker at the time.
That's a lot of money to lose for anyone.
I'm telling you, it was so bad. And that trade blowing up on me impacted my approach to investing. I went years without making any trades related to companies' earnings. I stopped trusting all of the analysts and all the financial news hosts out there. And you know what? I'm glad I did because it gave me the opportunity to discover a strange market phenomenon that changed everything for me.
So that's when you began focusing on one stock?
One winning stock. Forget about the other 8,251 stocks. Forget about what the media is trying to hype up. My one ticker payout strategy requires you to focus on only one winning stock at a time.
Now, what exactly do you mean by one winning stock?
That's actually a great question. So, what is a winning stock? So, let's go back and look at the big loss I took on Apple. I blew it up on that play because I made a bet that Apple would have a great earnings release. I was guessing, which means I was gambling. Because if the earnings release didn't turn out like I'd hoped, I was going to lose. And that's exactly what happened. However, a question popped into my mind. What if I could make money on stocks after earnings come out? That way, I wouldn't be guessing. Instead, I'd be betting on a stock that was already winning. Or on the flip side, betting against a stock that was already losing. Either way, I eliminate the surprise and I follow where the momentum and the big money is flowing. So that's what I did. My one ticker payout strategy zeroes in on just one stock that starts its move after earnings news.
Wait a second. After earnings come out, the stock will have already moved. If it's a great earnings report, then the stock moves up and you'll be too late, right?
Well, that's what most people believe. But something else happens after earnings comes out, and it leads to the single most predictable set of trades that you can make in the market. It's a phenomenon called the earnings profit surge. In short, after a company beats earnings, the stock doesn't just pop once on the day earnings are released. Instead, stocks with the strongest earnings reports will continue to move upward for weeks or even months. Researchers from Harvard, Duke, and Cambridge have all proven this. Even the Federal Reserve and the Securities and Exchange Commission have studied this powerful market force that leads to sharp rises in certain share prices. And a 139-page study from the Florida State University College of Business showed that it leads to abnormal returns.
That's interesting. So, when a company beats Wall Street expectations, this earnings profit surge causes the stock to keep rising for weeks at a time. Can you show us some historical examples of real stocks that did this?
Yeah, here, take a look. This is Gilead Sciences. Now, the stock gapped up after an earnings surprise.
Okay, I see the gap right there. There's a huge break between the lines.
Yeah, exactly. Now, most traders are probably done right here. They'd get in before the earnings announcement and they would be thrilled that they ended up being right. But the problem is, if you play earnings before the announcement happens, it's often a 50-50 call on making money or losing money. So do not play the gap. It's too risky. Rather, it's better to play the earnings profit surge that is proven to occur after an earnings announcement. This is how we put the odds in our favor. So let's get back to the chart. Now, as you can see, if we zoom out a little, Gilead continued moving up for the next month and a half. The stock increased 19%.
So, you're simply recommending that people buy stocks and hold them for a month or so after earnings come out?
Well, people can do that, and sure, they probably can do well. But no, there's actually more to this. There is something else going on that allows us to consistently look for big short term winners. It takes the earnings profit surge and makes it even stronger.
Well, I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, I can't wait to show it to everyone. But first, let's look at a couple more examples. Here's the chart of Lululemon. And as you can see, the stock gapped up after an earnings surprise. And again, don't risk being part of that gap because the stock could very well tank in the other direction after the earning announcement if it's a flop. Instead, focus on the earnings profit surge that follows after earnings are announced. Now, sure enough, Lulu continued moving up, rising 7% in just a bit more than a month.
Now, that's almost 3 times more than the Dow is up this year in just 5 weeks.
Yeah, you're right. But in a moment, I'm going to show you how it's possible to make even more than that. First, though, let's look at one more example. Here we can see NVIDIA gapped up after its earnings surprise. And when we zoom out, you can see that it moved as much as 35% over the next 3 months, thanks to the earnings profit surge.
Nate, that's roughly 3 years of market returns in 3 months. I get why you're so excited to share this market strategy.
Yeah, but here's the thing, Bill. While the results like these would be solid for most investors, that's not how I turned $37,000 into $2.7 million in 4 years. Instead, I've found ways to produce even bigger wins in even shorter periods of time. I make just one weekly trade at a specific time on a ticker that's released a great earnings report. And in the process, it's possible to make far more than 35% in a much shorter time frame.
More than 35%? Come on now.
Let's zoom back into that NVIDIA chart and focus on just the first month after its earning announcement. Using one ticker payouts with the right timing, a trade entered on March 6th could have made up to 443% in just 11 days.
No, wait, excuse me. Did you just say 443%?
I did, but we're not done yet. 1 week later, a trade could have made 543% in just 9 days. The next week, using the very same ticker, a trade opened on the 20th could have made 89% return in 11 days. And then another trade a week later on the 27th could have made an 88% return within just 7 days.
Wait a second. Are you saying that investors could have made a 443% return, a 543% return, an 89% return, and another 88% return in 1/3 the amount of time that most investors would have made 35%?
Exactly. All told, by making just one trade per week on one ticker, you could have gone 4 for 4 on NVIDIA. $1,000 into all 4 trades throughout the month could have turned into $15,655 using one ticker payouts. And $10,000 in each of those trades would have turned into $156,550. By comparison, regular stock investors would have made only $3,500 on a $10,000 investment.
Yeah, that is truly remarkable. You're talking about 8 times more profit by trading just this one ticker over and over. Can you show us another example?
Absolutely. This time, let's go back even further to a really poor month in the markets, June 2022.
Yeah, that was a terrible month. The Fed raised interest rates by 75 basis points for the first time since 1994. Fuel costs for Americans were at an all-time high. Inflation was getting out of control, and the stock market was destroying retirement accounts left and right.
I mean, the S&P was down more than 8% in a single month.
I don't know too many people who made a lot back then.
Well, that's why this strategy is so good. We target only one single winning stock at any given time. We leave all of the rest of the losing stocks behind. So in June, one of the only winning stocks was Snowflake. Its earnings report was massive. It had a 700% earnings surprise. So while the rest of the market was down, Snowflake actually rose 7%. But here's the thing. While there was solid money to be made following the stock, we found that the one ticker payouts strategy would have produced 3 wins in the 4 weeks that followed. The only week it wouldn't have produced a winning trade, nothing triggered for that week. So in 4 weeks, there would have been 3 wins and 1 week with no trade. Plus, the 3 trades were huge wins. Just look at these trades on the screen.
Am I reading that right? 84% in 3 days, 1,300% in 10 days, 225% in 10 days. That one 1,303% trade alone would have turned $10,000 into what? 140,300 in a little over a week?
Yeah, that's correct. Now, let me be clear. These trades would have required timing and execution. And I'm not saying everyone will make 1,300% automatically. These examples demonstrate just how massive the upside that we're aiming for really is. But we're talking about a month that would have caused investors to lose $839 on a 10K investment if they had simply invested in the S&P. Even if it was only a 50% win, that's a win that you could have bragged to your friends and family about during a horrific month for most investors.
I sure would have. This is truly astounding. Now, Nate, why does this work? What kind of trades are you targeting to win week after week?
Well, it's actually pretty interesting. When I was studying the earnings profits surge, my biggest question was why do stocks continue going up even after the earning information is released? Now, after all, investors already know that the company is doing well. So shouldn't that all be priced into the stock already?
Well, that's the same thing I wonder.
Yeah, right, exactly. But what I discovered is that once the stock reports great earnings, something happens with the big trade firms. Essentially, they all want to add that winning stock to their funds. But for them, they can't just log into a brokerage account and make a single trade like you or I can. After all, we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars. They have to move that money in slowly. So the moment the big earnings release comes out, they create a buying plan to add to their positions over the course of several weeks. And every week, they're adding more and more and more to their positions. This causes the stock to continue rising for the month or so after earnings comes out. But it also creates an additional, more powerful opportunity for you to profit. Basically, these huge $100 million money flows also increase the value of the stock's weekly options. And what I came to realize is that if you bought into these weekly options at the beginning of each week, when the options are often cheaper, you could make a boatload by the end of each week.
Yeah, that makes sense. But does it really work?
Yeah, look, I get why people might be skeptical. That's why I brought tons of examples to show that this strategy is the real deal. Now, here's another one. This time with the Hershey Chocolate Company. It had a blockbuster earnings report in February. Right after the announcement, the stock popped. And the earnings profit surge continued driving the stock 7% higher over the next month. So a $10,000 investment would have produced $700 in profit, which is fine, especially in a tough month like February was. However, using the one ticker payout strategy each week instead, an investor could have collected 3 wins in 4 weeks. The trades went up 116% in 9 days in week 1, 80% in 11 days in week 2, and 174% in 11 days in week 3. $10,000 into each of these 3 trades would have produced $37,154 in profit. That's 53 times bigger than the $700 profit that you would have received by owning the stock. Now, this is why I focus on just one ticker each month. It's so much more effective than trying to guess which stocks will go up over the long term.
Nate, these examples that you shared with us certainly show how massive the returns from one ticker payouts can be. But you mentioned that you use options to target these remarkable wins. And I'll be frank, a lot of people say options are too risky, too complex for everyday people. What do you say to that?
Look, I know a lot of people are scared of options and they view them as super risky. But look, like anything in life, they are risky if you use them in the wrong way. I mean, heck, a lot of people think stocks are less risky than options. But starting out, I lost all of my money on stocks 3 separate times. So stocks and options both have risks. Nothing in trading is guaranteed. You should never trade with money that you can't afford to lose. But options do give you a huge advantage that you don't get with stocks.
What's that?
Well, they allow you to put less money at risk while also targeting higher gains. And that's how you're able to make triple or even quadruple digit gains within just days. With stocks, that would be impossible. But if you use options correctly, like trading them on an earnings profit surge, you can actually win with potentially massive gains. In fact, options were critical to turning $37,000 into $2.7 million for me. Without options, that never would have happened within 4 years. Here's the great thing about the way I play options with this part of my strategy. All it takes is a small move upward during the earnings profit surge to see a huge winner. When a stock surges just 5% or 10%, you can target massive money multiplying wins.
Do you have any examples to show us?
Yeah, remember that 2,614% gain that was mentioned earlier?
Yeah, how could I not remember a return like that? It was on the ticker symbol AI, correct?
Correct. Well, that would have only been possible with options. Simply investing in the stock could have made 96%. But instead, with options, that return could have soared to 2,614% in the same amount of time.
Oh, let that sink in if you're watching right now. That's enough to turn $10,000 into an unheard of gain of $271,400 in a matter of 10 days.
Exactly. Now, here's another example. This time, Coca Cola was up 4% in 10 days.
Yeah, 4%. Now, that's not a bad return in 10 days.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. But playing the options during the same days, that 4% could have actually been worth as much as 243%.
That's over 60 times more than the stock returns. Nate, I have to ask, are these extreme examples?
Yes, every one of these shows the extreme power of using options on one winning stock. In fact, here's another example from May, and in this case, Microsoft stock was up 8%. But using my strategy, an option trade could have made as much as 1,028% in just 11 days.
That's the difference between turning $10,000 into an $800 profit versus a $102,800 profit in exactly the same amount of time.
Yeah, and that's why I've been using options for years now. And once you learn how to simplify your trading, at the end of the day, the profit potential far outweighs trading stocks. Just take a look at a few of the wins that could have been made this year using my one ticker payout strategy.
Wow. 106%, 332%, 443%, and wait, 734% returns all within just a few days. Am I reading this correctly?
Yes, you're reading that right. That's the full power of using options when you time them right.
Well, most people don't bother to take the time to learn how to trade options properly, but you did. You didn't buy into the myth that options are only for professionals and you didn't get scared. It's no wonder that you were able to make millions of dollars with just in a few years.
Yeah, look, even though my one ticker payout strategy calls for making just one trade per week, the profit potential is massive. It's the perfect strategy to master options with, regardless of whether you're a seasoned veteran or just a rookie.
But Nate, zeroing in on one stock rather than diversifying goes completely against what Wall Street and retirement fund managers have been telling everyone for years.
To be blunt, how has that been working out for everyone? That trusty buy and hold 60/40 diversified portfolio just recorded its worst annual performance since 1937. In fact, if you'd had $200,000 in a 60/40 portfolio in 2022, you'd have lost $36,000. Even in 2023, as the stock market has moved back up overall, it's mostly been driven by just a handful of stocks. In fact, if it wasn't for just three stocks, three, Microsoft, Google, and Nvidia, the S&P would actually be down 2% on the year.
So, are you saying that 99% of the market's best 500 stocks have been dead weight?
Exactly, which proves my point about diversification not working the way that it used to or ought to. That's why I wanted to share this with everyone today. And let me be clear, I'm not saying my one ticker payout strategy should replace your retirement portfolio. This should be in addition to your existing basket of strategies that you choose to deploy. But focusing on one ticker at a time is the single best way that I've found to potentially increase your portfolio much faster than the market grows.
So, let's be clear. You believe your strategy is a way for everyday people to succeed right now, right?
Right? No matter your age, no matter how much money you have, no matter how much experience you have in the markets, my one ticker payout strategy can help everyone. Here's how my one ticker payout strategy works. Step one, at the start of every month, I pick one stock that recently experienced a massive earnings surprise. Step two, I focus on that one stock over the course of the month as it reacts and experiences an earnings profit surge, and I look to trade it one time per week. Historically speaking, Mondays generally offer the lowest entry prices. That's why I'm always looking to enter new one ticker payouts trades early in the week. Then we'll generally close them out in about 8 days. Step three, rinse and repeat. Each month, I target the next winning stock that recently enjoyed an earnings surprise, and we'll look to profit on this ticker over and over again.
So, that's it. You don't have to buy 20 tickers at a time with this strategy.
Correct. We use one ticker, one trade every week for 1 month. Then we move into the next great opportunity.
I got to say, Nate, this all sounds pretty simple. Can you give us some examples of what a successful month, a very successful month, could look like using this strategy?
Yeah, absolutely. Here's a historical example with the ticker GILD in November. The stock itself went up 12% during its earnings profit surge. But the one ticker payout strategy could have found four trades in 4 weeks throughout the month of November.
For those at home who may have had some trouble reading that, that's a 161% gain in 7 days, a 96% gain in 11 days, a 212% gain in 11 days, and a 218% gain in 10 days. That is incredible.
Yeah, $1,000 into each of those four trades could have turned into $10,895. And $10,000 into each of those trades could have turned into nearly $109,000, all within a month. Compare that with just $1,792 in profit from putting $10,000 into the stock each week.
108K within a month is remarkable.
It really is. Now, I'm not saying that 100K in a month always happens. That would be incredible. But when we looked back at how some of the best stocks moved after earnings came out, we saw a bunch of big winners regularly. And this was especially true with stocks that released the best earnings reports. For example, in December, the stock AI had a blockbuster earnings report. Over the next month, the stock rose steadily by 73%. However, the one ticker strategy knocked that out of the park. This type of strategy could have produced a trade opportunity in 3 out of the 4 weeks. And all 3 of those trades won, with gains ranging from 141% in the first week to 2,614% in the last week. The strategy could have triggered trades on the ticker key in 3 out of 4 weeks in February, with gains as high as 276%. 4 out of 4 weeks on NVIDIA in March, with a top gain of 543%. 3 out of 4 weeks in Lulu in April, with a gain of 206% in the third week. 3 out of 5 weeks in Microsoft in May, and 3 out of 4 weeks on NVIDIA in June.
Holy cow, look at those gains along the way. This strategy could have produced wins as high as 85% in 3 days, 206% in 7 days, 150% in 10 days. And of course, I see those 1,028% and 2,614% gains that you mentioned earlier. That is extraordinary profit potential. Nate, I did notice there were some weeks, though, that didn't seem to have any trades.
Yeah, you're right. Look, I'm very careful about managing risk. There will be occasional weeks when I don't like the options available, so I won't make a trade. To the best of my ability, I want to avoid possible losses for my members. Now, am I perfect? Of course not. Losses happen. Any trader knows that. But it's my job to make the losses as small as possible and as rare as possible. And even when we analyzed this strategy with recent market data, there were times when it would have skipped a trade. So that's why it's important to follow the system and not force a trade when the odds are not squarely in our favor. What it boils down to is this. Each month, I look for one stock that's just crushed earnings. Then each Monday, I look for the option with the most upside potential. And then if I find one that fits my criteria, I recommend one trade each week. That's it. All you have to follow is the one ticker each month. And here's the best part of this strategy. The time it takes to implement my one ticker payout strategy is so minimal that you get all the time in the world to enjoy life the way you want. Imagine making one trade during lunch on a Monday and moving on with your week. No one should have to live their life chained to the news or some stock scanner.
Making money during lunch. I can get behind that.
Yeah. Remember, this earnings profit surge phenomenon that I base my strategy off of has been studied by researchers from Harvard, the Fed, the SEC, and many others.
And you're doing all of this by ignoring 99% of the publicly traded stocks.
Yeah, that's right. The beauty of only focusing on one stock each month is it doesn't matter what the rest of the market is doing. Just a few minutes ago, I shared how one ticker payouts could have triggered a trade 3 out of 4 times on Key in February, which I'm sure many remember as a terrible month for the market.
I noticed that. Investors could have seen as much as a 276% return on a single trade.
That's right. All while the Dow fell 1,000 points due to the banks collapsing and recession fears. That is what is so great about this strategy. It works in all environments. It even works when the market does nothing. Look at the S&P 500 in May of last year. It grew 0.01%. That's the closest it's been to zero in a single month since June 2006.
1/100 of a percentage point, that's about as sideways as you can get.
Yet, my one ticker payout strategy still could have worked wonders for investors. The one ticker to follow that month was Snap. It produced gigantic winners 3 out of 4 weeks during that flat month. 425% in 8 days, 997% in 7 days, and 734% in 1 day.
So you're telling us that $10,000 into each of those 3 trades could have turned into $245,600 if you were lucky enough to nail all of them with expert timing.
You can see why I love teaching people this strategy. I've shown nearly 50 recent examples of how well this strategy can work in any market. The data speaks for itself. A run like this stands out. It's right there for the viewers at home to see. It's my mission to help everyday people make a lot of money in the markets.
All right, let's look at what some of your happiest VIP students have said about following your premium services. Phil writes, Nate, thanks for the CVNA trade. Took 450% win within a few hours. Happy days. Another user wrote, for those who are contemplating whether or not to join, I can share with you just D1 paid for my subscription 10 times over. Nate is a really great teacher. And Steve wrote, not to brag, but because of Nate, I was able to hit my first ever 1,000% gain in just 5 days. Closed while on the golf course yesterday. Now, Not all of your readers have seen results like these, but anyone can see you're the kind of person that people can lean on when trading isn't going their way. That is what being a great teacher is all about.
Well, thank you, Bill. Now, more than ever, people need a new approach to the markets because the old ways just aren't working anymore.
Well, after seeing your one ticker payouts demonstration today, it sounds like people need your strategy now.
Yeah, I'm dedicated to helping people weed out the noise, eliminate 8,251 of the 8,252 publicly traded stocks, and master this one ticker payout strategy. That's why, starting on Monday at noon, I'm giving people the chance to trade one ticker payouts with me live every single week.
Now, you were telling me about this before the interview. Can you tell the viewers what exactly One Ticker Payouts Live is?
Of course. Every Monday, I will be broadcasting live at noon to reveal my one ticker payouts game plan for the week. I'll be talking about the exact ticker that we're trading, the exact option contract that we're entering, how to enter the option in your brokerage account. I'll explain it in a very simple and easy to understand way. And most importantly, how we plan to exit the trade for our maximum payout. This isn't going to eat up most of your day either. We're talking just 30 minutes or less, one day per week.
Just 30 minutes?
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, you can literally watch while having lunch. And if you can't make it, you can always catch the recording later.
When you're talking about trades with this kind of potential, 30 minutes per week doesn't seem like much at all. But I have another question. On those weekly calls, the viewers will know what ticker you'll be trading and the reasons you're targeting it as the one ticker to focus on, right?
Exactly. There won't be any surprises there. We're only trading one ticker each month.
Well, the most stressful part of this kind of trading for anyone is finding a winning stock. And yet, you've eliminated that stress and all of the noise that comes with picking stocks.
Yeah, exactly. My sole focus is profiting from the top winning stock that is benefiting from an earnings profit surge. One ticker, one trade per week for 1 month. It's that simple.
And the payout opportunities you're looking at are tremendous.
They really are. Some of the gains we've uncovered looking back at the one ticker strategy are spectacular, like the 274% gain in 11 days on Coca-Cola, or the 313% gain in 10 days on DraftKings. And I still can't get over that extraordinary 2,614% in 10 days on AI. Look, Bill, I hope by now people are really getting excited about the brand new way to make profits. Friends, all you've got to do is tune into my live stream, One Ticker Payouts Live, every Monday at noon. And best of all, this weekly live event is going to be included free for all new members of my brand new wealth building initiative, which you can join right now using a special discount code for founding members.
What is this initiative precisely?
Well, I'm launching a brand new research service dedicated to helping people target one ticker payouts over and over. The name of my new service is Profit Surge Trader. We named it after the earnings profit surges that make these one ticker payouts possible. So the service is designed to help you try and make big money every week.
All just using one ticker.
Exactly.
So let me make sure I understand this correctly. Every month, you'll zero in on a single ticker. Every Monday at noon during your One Ticker Payouts live stream, you'll reveal your exact game plan for your weekly trade. And then at the end of the month, you'll restart the process and recommend a brand new ticker for the next month.
That's right. But with Profit Surge Trader, it doesn't just stop there. I'll also deliver instant trade recommendations whenever I buy and sell. So you'll receive both email alerts and lightning fast push alerts straight to your mobile phone. And most importantly, I'm even putting my real money into all of my trades. So you know that I'm always having skin in the game whenever I make a trade recommendation.
Nate, you're telling me that your members can watch where you're putting your actual money on the line each and every week throughout the year?
Yes, look, my goal is to reveal the one ticker payouts trade on the live stream, so viewers can look over my shoulder and watch the entire trade as I make it. But if it's more profitable, wait a few hours or even until the next morning, then of course, my game plan will be to wait until the most profitable moment. But when it's time to make a trade, I will send out an email with exact instructions, and I'll use my real money whenever I make one of these recommendations. The goal of my one ticker payouts is to make as much cash as possible every week using just one ticker. But these trade alerts will keep you plugged in through the entire trade.
So you'll send alerts whenever you buy and sell your one ticker payout recommendations for the week?
Exactly. And I'll also send additional updates on the recommendation as needed. You can expect complete transparency. You'll get to join and interact with me each and every Monday at noon as I break down my game plan. You'll get email and mobile updates whenever I enter and exit a trade. And on top of that, you'll be able to see what's active in my portfolio 24/7 in case you're traveling or if you miss a trade.
Look, obviously past performance doesn't guarantee future returns. And as you mentioned earlier, all investing involves risk. But I gotta say, Nate, this research service seems like it can be an absolute game changer. And as you saw with these examples over the past few months, the results can be extraordinary. And Nate is going to walk you through this strategy live each and every week. Remember, this is one of his favorite strategies that he used to turn $37,000 into $2.7 million. Nate, it seems like you really checked all the boxes when you were putting this new service together. You're giving folks at home everything they need to be successful at profiting from one ticker payouts.
Yeah, and that's not everything they're going to get.
What? Wait, hold up. You mean there's more?
Yes, there is. I'm also opening up my private training library to people who join as a founding member today. Inside, you'll find all of the research and trainings that I have put together to help members become more profitable traders, including 3 brand new bonus reports that are designed to fast track your one ticker payout success. The first report is called One Ticker Payouts, the Profit Rulebook. It covers everything you need to know about my one ticker payout strategy. You're going to learn exactly how small moves in a stock can transform into massive gains. This report even dives into the many studies that prove the power of the earnings profit surge. It's all spelled out in plain English. Whenever you're in doubt, you can always access this exclusive report at any time for quick answers.
So basically, it's a cheat sheet to one ticker payouts every week.
Yeah, exactly. I'm also including a second report called the $2.7 million profit system. This report goes over exactly how I turned 37K into 2.7 million. It's my ultimate secret that will change the way you aim to grow your money.
I need to get my hands on that. And you mentioned that founding members were going to get one more report?
Yes, absolutely. Finally, I know that some people watching are new to trading options, and that's perfectly fine because I put together a third report called How to Profitably Trade Options, the Easy Way. It covers everything you need to know about trading options profitably, how to set up an options trading account in case you don't have one yet, how to minimize fees down to 0, and how to minimize risk. And look, you can certainly be profitable with one ticker payouts simply by investing in the stock alone. But as I've demonstrated earlier, with options, the earnings potential is just far too massive to pass up. We're talking about the difference between an 8% gain and an extraordinary gain of as much as 1,028% over the same time frame, which frankly, most investors might never get a chance to see in their lifetimes. And with this new report, you'll learn how to trade options successfully. All 3 of these reports are yours when you become a founding member of Profit Surge Trader.
So folks, this is your exclusive invitation to becoming a founding member of Nate's brand new research service, Profit Surge Trader. 1 year Profit Surge Trader retails for $997. That is a far better deal than some of the $5,000 trading services that you will find out there.
And today, I've put together an even better price that's exclusive to founding members.
Oh yeah?
Look, I get it. People are struggling right now. I really believe that this cutting edge service can add real, meaningful profits to people's lives every week. That's why if you join as a founding member, you can get access to Profit Surge Trader for an entire year for as low as $249.
Just $249? Wait, that's more than a $700 discount.
I am dead serious. I've done everything I could do to make this service the biggest bang for your buck.
You can say that again.
I know the struggle. When I was a construction worker, I didn't have much cash. I get it. $249 is essentially the cost of getting this video in front of you. It's the lowest possible price that my publisher will allow. I mean, they've got to keep the lights on too. So if cost is the only thing between you and a better life, I'm more than happy to offer this discount.
Look, folks, Nate is going to be trading live 52 weeks out of the year, every Monday at noon. And each of those weeks, you are going to get a trade recommendation. If you do the math, that comes out to just $4.78 per week.
There is a catch though. If you want this deeply discounted price and 3 exclusive reports I put together, you have to be a founding member. My publisher isn't going to make this offer available for very long. And once this offer is closed, the pricing is out of my hands.
Well, there you have it. You heard it from the man himself. Don't wait, folks. Click on the button below to join now. It's right below this video. Here's a recap of everything that you are going to get today. You are going to get 1 full year of Nate's weekly research service, Profit Surge Trader, which includes an invitation to join Nate every Monday at noon on One Ticker Payouts Live. You are also going to receive Nate's Ticker of the Month, and of course, trade recommendations that he sends weekly via email. And to top all of that off, as a founding member, you'll have access to Nate's private training library, which includes all 3 of his exclusive new reports: One Ticker Payouts, the Profit Rulebook, the $2.7 million Profit System, and how to profitably trade options the easy way. All for today's special founding member price. Plus, it is backed by Nate's 365 days, no question to ask, money back guarantee. Is that right, Nate?
Exactly right. And I'll even do you one better and let you keep all of the reports from my library for free. They're my gift for giving my new service a try.
With a strategy this powerful, one that gives you the ability to target massive gains each week, and not to mention direct access to Nate himself every Monday at noon, I think people are going to want much more than to simply give this service a try. You'll want to get your hands on as many of these One Ticker Payouts as you can. Don't let this opportunity pass you by. Remember, as Nate mentioned, you have to act now to secure this special founding member deal, including the massive discount that Nate was able to get you today. That's all the time we have for today. I want to thank Nate Baer for joining us. After chatting with him, it is no wonder that he was able to turn $37K into $2.7 million in just 4 years. And I want to thank all of you for watching today. If you're ready to join Nate every Monday at noon, click the button below. You'll be taken to a secure order form where you can complete your order. And within minutes, you'll have access to all of his latest recommendations and all of the perks that he has put together for you today. Thanks for being with us today, Nate.
Yeah, and thanks for having me, Bill. And thank you to everyone watching today. I'm looking forward to meeting you virtually this upcoming Monday.